Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope you are all doing well. Today's video is going to kind of be about reactions and our reactions to different things in the world and to us, and what they should look like versus what they really look like, and then the world's reaction to a bunch of different stuff. Right now, the world we're in shambles right now, just about. There's so much division among everyone to the smallest topic, and we see that the world cries for peace but rejects the Prince of Peace. And the world wants love and everyone to love each other and come together and be, again, peaceful with each other, but they reject the author of love. And we're so busy, the world is so busy trying to get what we want, what each of us as individuals want, and trying to bring the world together with worldly things that it can't even see past its own desires to understand that it needs Christ to pull it together. It rejects everything that Christ is, but can't seem to fix the problem. But when we come to Christ, He mends us together. He is that Prince of Peace, the author of love. He is love. God is love. And all we see is the world reject it, and then it wonders, why am I like this? And right now, a lot of you in the news or on social media or on the internet of somewhere have probably seen something about the death of George Floyd. And it's a tragic incident. What happened to him was horrible. It could have been prevented. It should have been prevented, but unfortunately the outcome is what it is, and it's terrible. And in this, I'm not going to try to go on a political tirade, but in this, we see two different kinds of anger going on right now. I've mentioned this before, but there's an evil anger, and then there's a righteous anger. The evil anger is destructive. It is hateful. It tears people apart. It brings people down. It gets people hurt. And then we have a righteous anger that is an anger towards evil, and it doesn't attack evil with evil, but it tries to correct evil. It calls out the evil, tries to change the evil, fixes the evil without being that destructive, hateful force that evil anger is. And in this death, we are seeing both types of anger. We are seeing people who truly want to see change, and they're using their voices and logic and reason and to try to fix the issue. And then we have people who are out rioting and looting and hurting others and causing more death, more destruction, more anger, more separation in the media, because conservatives are bashing liberals, liberals are bashing conservatives. The Black Lives Matter movement is trying to fight for what they believe is right, and then other groups are like, blah, blah, blah. It is literally just one huge, big mess. But there was another similar instance to what happened to someone's brother. His name is Brant Jean, B-R-A-N-T, last name Jean, J-E-A-N. And he is on the stand, I guess, testifying against his brother's killer. And when he gets up there, he doesn't spew any hate towards that person. He actually gets up there and goes, I forgive you. I don't want anything evil to happen to you. He even tells the person, I don't want you going to jail. And he says, I think the best thing that both of them will want, because I think two people died, that both of them would want is for you to accept Christ into your life. I think that's what they would want. And he speaks no ill intent towards a person who just killed his brother. And at the end of it, he starts getting a little emotional. He even asks to hug the person who did this. And a lot of people would get up and say, well, that does nothing, and they get angry and disgusted. But I just said, the world wants peace but rejects literally the one person who could bring peace to the world. And that is the kind of reaction that we need to have to things, to evil things in our lives. We think what we have to do is to get back at someone, to try to get revenge or to make their lives miserable because they made us miserable. There is so much disgusting things going on in this world. There's so much hate. There is so much evil. There is so much division that we can't see an inch in front of our face because we're so blinded by it. And instead of trying to figure out things for ourselves or going to God to figure out things, we just blindly jump into what it is. And that's exactly what Satan wants. He wants us to be separated. He wants us to hate. He wants us to be destructive and just ruin everything. But we can't give in to that. And so no matter what the evil, what is ever going on towards you, we need to have that reaction that still is peaceful and loving. Because all fighting evil with evil does is create more evil, more deaths, more destruction, more people getting hurt, and it never ever ever solves the issue. All it does is cause more issues. And again, our reactions need to be that peaceful and loving, because when people see that, they're changed, they're moved in a positive way that can help influence other people to be changed and moved too. And again, the Bible does say some people will hear and will not care. They won't have a change of heart. But there are plenty of people out there who will hear the message, who will see your reaction and go, I want to be more like that person, or I want to be able to do the same thing, or you know what, maybe I do need to change. But what they're going to see is that one time you had that evil, dangerous, nasty reaction, they're going to go, that I don't want to be like that, or that's not what I want to see, or you're going to be judged by that one action you had and not be able to recover from it. People are going to see you as that evil, hateful person. And all it takes is one time to do that. And so we see, I guess I'm going to do my best not to get political on this, but talked about people only getting one fact, or trying to jump to conclusions and freaking out and not taking everything into account. And we see the people who are against the Black Lives Matter movement trying to say, well, there's more white people killed by cops than black people every year, and we see the Black Lives Matter movement pushing different things. I really don't want to get into it because, again, I don't know enough about it to really have a clear input on this. But all we see is more hate and division. Everyone just wants to be right. I want to be right about this, or I want to be right about that. And that's not helping anything. And so before we react, we really, really, really need to think. Because when we just jump in and blindly react to things that we know, that most of us probably know nothing about, or have experienced, or have issues, or have had to dealt with, we usually end up looking really stupid or really dumb, not smart. And then again, people judge us like, what is it? What are you doing? And it helps no one. It benefits no one. It brings no one closer to Christ. It doesn't glorify God. And we just get stuck in our own ways. We conform to the world and are completely blinded by what God does not want us to be blinded by. And so we really need to be careful and cautious about how we react to things. And yes, what happened to George Floyd is terrible and tragic, and something needs to be fixed. People need to be held accountable for what they have done. Because again, it could have been prevented. It should have been prevented. And unfortunately, what happened. But when we react in evil and negative ways and bring people down. We make different groups of people look terrible, and it's don't react how the world reacts. React how Christ would react. There was I just saw this, and I'm going to do my best to quote it, but whenever Jesus was asked a question, he didn't answer the question, he answered the person. Whenever Jesus got into fights and arguments, he didn't try to win the fight, or he didn't try to win the argument, he tried to win the person. Because it's not about who's right and who's wrong. It's about I just kind of blank. It's not about being right. It's not about being wrong. It's about trying to bring people together. It's about trying to allow people to see truth. Because again, the truth will set us free. And sometimes the truth isn't always comforting, and it's not always good, but we're so caught up in being, I'm right, you're wrong, that we don't actually ever see any truth in it. Nothing happens, nothing gets moved, nothing changes. And I know I'm kind of ranting, I've been rambling for a little bit, but the biggest point I'm trying to get across is react how Christ would react.